dark, snuck up on you. Yeah. It was like a blip on the radar, and you were terrified. It's like an old Nintendo dot, and you are terrified of it.
You are listening to...
How dare you?
No, you're not. They sold their equipment because they quit because they're bitches.
And that takes us into welcome to an episode of the SofaKingdom podcast. I am your only host that you need to know, Nelson.
I'm the guy with the muffled voice, Ian.
And Edward.
And Edward, yes, the afterthought. So, speaking of afterthoughts, we're going to go into the greatest sports people, men and women, non-binary.
Athletes is the word you're looking for.
However you identify.
Yes, however you identify, we love you and hate you.
Yeah. It's all fair. It's all fair.
And we're going to go into our Mount Rushmore, and we're going to just dive right into it. We'll start with Ian.
Yeah.
And,
the whole premise is like, all right, if you had a Mount Rushmore, these athletes could stand alone. Let's judge all sports, like not team sports, individual sports. If you were looking at 4 people, men, women, that the whole athletic world could just look at and be like, okay, they could do at least hold their own in other sports. Like their athletic ability was that high that. If they picked, maybe they're a basketball player or a football player,
right?
But if they did like a ping pong game, they'd probably do pretty good just based off their athletic ability.
Like Michael Jordan, I can't tell you how many memes I see of like they're playing beer pong, and then like there's Michael Jordan holding a beer pong in his hand. Like
he would probably be decent.
Yeah, somebody's going home drunk.
Exactly.
Somebody's dying of alcohol poisoning.
And if he loses, he will hate you.
Oh yeah, and
yeah.
probably
He will hate
sue
you.
you.
It doesn't matter what it is.
He'll punch your car window out.
What he's doing, he will hate you.
So with that said, then we have to eliminate golf because golf is not a sport.
I'm fine with that.
Okay, good. So we're on the same page here.
It's very difficult. It takes a high level of skill. It's just I'm
It does.
pretty sure you could beat the hell out of a lot of golfers. They just
Yes.
When you have a cart and somebody that carries all your shit, you're removing any of the difficulty other than accuracy.
You lose all street cred. I agree.
Yeah, you lose your street cred. Those pants make you lose street cred as well. So nothing plaid being worn with our athletes.
It's also a lack of confidence. They're always like turning to the caddy and being like, well, "What do you think I should do? Is there a 9-iron?
Right, yeah.
Should I use a wood?"
What that is you're looking for somebody to blame when you fucking suck.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. All right, so golf is off the table. Ping pong off the table.
Yeah.
I mean, the movie Ping Pong Player.
Yeah.
That was good though. But
isn't there
that's
Balls of Fury? There was
Balls
another
of
one.
Fury,
Yeah.
yes,
Balls of Fury was another
yes.
great ping pong movie.
Dodgeball is this on the table?
They tried to make it an actual sport. I think it lasted like half a season.
Yeah, you need Ben Stiller to make it an actual sport. I mean,
and just for we're gonna leave full lesbian roller derby out too, just for
God damn it! Oh well, that takes off 3 people from my list. All right, so instead of a Mount
we have a lot
Rushmore-
of conservative Christian donators to the podcast, so we really we weren't
donators?
allowed. We weren't.
Holy shit, that's news to me. All right,
This is a publicly traded company.
Oh man! All right, so who would be your first athlete to go with?
All right, I'll start off. The multi-sport athlete. This is I'm gonna go with Bo Jackson. Not just because he was ridiculously fast in that old Super Nintendo game.
Fuck yeah.
Just pick him and win. But Bo, he's a very large dude. He's like 6'2", 223, and actually I just found out today he runs a 4.13 40, which is ridiculous. That means he's faster than Deion Sanders.
That man was moving.
Yeah.
I had to run that fast in Brooklyn. Whenever I got my paycheck, back to my apartment.
That's what you get for buying those expensive sneakers.
Yeah.
You had to put them to use immediately.
Listen, man, I pumped them shits up, and I was out.
Yeah. I mean, he's a really impressive specimen. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying there's not, extra supplements in the cereal that may have contributed.
Supplements.
Yes, exactly. That may have contributed to it. But he's just a fantastic athlete. I mean, he was an all-star in baseball. He won the Heisman Trophy in college. He had like 141 home runs, and he was so important to Nike's company. That whole slogan, Bo knows, back in the day. Some people might remember. That they still, to this day, give him $1 million a year, even though he has zero product line on the shelf. It's like a thank you note.
That's what I need. I need $1 million a year for just being me.
How do you have a contract for like here? That almost seems like, please don't go to anybody else. Here's $1 million.
Right.
Yeah, and I remember growing up as a kid, like Bo Jackson was such a huge deal. Everybody wanted to be like Bo. That was like
Right.
another thing that
Kind of like be like Mike sort of thing.
Yeah, kind of like a be like Mike. I said Bo was better.
He didn't hate you when you beat him at golf.
Yeah,
No,
that's right.
no.
That's right. Which is not a sport.
But even the way his career ended, his hip injury, they said he was such a powerful human being that when he was tackled, the dude grabbed his foot. He actually was running so hard he dislocated his hip and fractured his hip in the same instance.
Damn.
And it ended up damaging blood vessels that were going into the hip, which caused him to have AVN, which is avascular necrosis. Okay. His bone actually died and resulted in him needing a hip replacement in 1992.
His bone wasn't strong enough for the muscle that was behind it.
No, he was too powerful for his own joints.
And I learned something new. AVN. I thought that was a bird flu.
Not to be confused with the AVN Awards, which is the Adult Video News Awards. Whole different injury.
I have no idea what those are, sir.
Yeah. Still a lot of hip injuries. A lot of hip injuries in the AVN.
Yeah. Oh yes. Oh yes. Lots of thrusting.
So if I'm sticking one head up there to start this off, it's going to be Bo Jackson's head, top left of my mountain, two-sport athlete. And, even as a kid, I didn't know shit about baseball or football growing up, but I heard the name Bo Jackson. So
Solid pick. All right. I'll jump into my first pick, and I'm going to have to go with Sugar Ray Robinson. To me, one of the pound-for-pound best boxers of all times. His career has an astounding 200 fights, 173 wins, 109 of those by KO with only 19 losses.
Whew.
He was the first to have an unbeaten streak with 91 fights.
Jesus.
Okay. Welterweight title winner. First to win a divisional world championship 5 times. He also won the Fighter of the Year award. And another thing that I find incredible about him is that he was also the first to start the Entourage. So not to be mistaken for HBO's Entourage.
That would be something that you like.
He brought in the flamboyant. He brought in all the panache. He brought in that Ric Flair. Woo! Like he came in there and he was like, "I'm bringing my boys with me. We fucking people up. We're gonna do it in great fashion." And his hair looked great in his fights. I mean, it's like he gelled it to go in there, but
yeah, he had, it's funny you mentioned that because a guy that will come later on my list, same sport, still identifies Sugar Ray Robinson as the greatest fighter of all time.
So is he the person we could blame for how the boxers pussyfoot around once they start getting a streak going?
Oh no, they're never gonna make him like Sugar Ray anymore. No,
back then fighters.
Everybody wants that streak though, so it's like, oh, they got a couple going. It's like, that guy looks trouble. How about that guy over there?
Yeah. Well, you get into that bullshit notion where nowadays everybody's afraid to get a 0 on their record, especially in boxing. It's like, okay, if I get a 0, I'm not marketable. And if you listen to Floyd Mayweather, he'll say, oh, well, if you got a 0 on your record, how are you the best? It's not the same. I mean, you could also have a 0 on your record because you had never been tested and you haven't fought anybody.
Which is something Floyd Mayweather is accused of doing, fighting fighters out of their prime or when they're not in their best.
We could do a whole episode on Floyd Mayweather.
You always hear of the games of like, oh, they want this size gloves and the person's got to come down to this weight or they going up to this. Yeah. There's so many little intricate games to be played to give yourself as much as an advantage as possible.
And I would say back then, like when Sugar Ray Robinson was fighting, they fought the best of the best. They weren't shy about it. They went in the ring. They weren't afraid to lose. Like MMA, when you look at how they fight, wins and losses, like yes, some fighters are held to a higher regard because they haven't lost, but they're not afraid to fight whoever's in their way. The majority of the fighters.
And Sugar Ray Robinson goes back to a time that's more like that in the sport of boxing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I have no problem with that one. Sugar Ray is going to go on a list with Julio Cesar Chavez, all the pound-for-pound greats of all time. That's a solid choice.
That's my first pick. And Ed, who's yours?
All right, my first pick, it's going to be Shaun White. And in terms of action sports, it's pretty hard to find anyone who isn't dominating the way that he is in not just vert on skateboard, but also in snowboarding.
I forgot about him doing skateboarding.
He still does both, and he still wins in both.
Was he the one with the red hair?
Yes, he is the one with the red hair. It is.
That was him.
I thought that was Carrot Top.
No.
I mean, he does bring props with him and shit. The snowboards, skateboards.
That's correct.
Went professional at 17. Currently has 24 X Games medals, 3 Olympic medals. Still competes in both snowboarding and skateboarding, and is still dominating. Where people are trying to catch up to the way he brings the flips and spins from snowboarding into skateboarding, and his ability to do that allows him to do tricks other people just can't even do.
So was he like an innovator in the sport? Like he created a lot of these things?
There's 2 people before him that you would say birthed the sport and essentially in the way that he does it. Mm-hmm. First, you have Rodney Mullen, who created all of the ground trips from the ollie, the kick flip, the heel flip, all of the ground tricks. That was all him. Tony Hawk took all of that and brought it onto vert, put it in the air in a manner that people went, wow, that looks really difficult. Shaun White took that all together and added the amplitude that snowboarding has and the flips and spins that snowboarding has with those flip tricks at the same time.
I just wish he would have brought it to the video game because it sucked.
Action sports has a long legacy of really shitty video games.
Shout out to Dave Mura's BMX. Rest in peace, Dave.
Rest in peace. Yeah, he was
Shout out to Paperboy.
a legend, and yeah. One of the games that you just like, it could have been, and
It wasn't.
Yeah. But Shaun White sounds like a solid pick, and so he's an Olympic champion.
Olympic
he's
gold
an
medalist,
X
Games
champion,
medalist,
and he did it in 2 different genres. I would say skateboarding and snowboarding.
Correct.
So that definitely makes him a fantastic athlete, and that. Like, I think X Games should get more hype. Like, I feel like they've kind of fell to the back
if
the
you
last
look
couple of years.
at
But
any list of athletes under great, GOAT, top, any of it, you will find 0 of the extreme sports athletes on any of those lists. They get 0 recognition for their ability and the punishment that they put on their bodies.
The risk that those guys take is unreal.
oh yeah, when you watch some of those videos, they're insane, and it takes a lot of skill, determination, and like willingness to put your body on the line. Like I see them in the air, I'm like, there's no fucking way I would do that. I have trouble like getting off my bed. I'm like, I'm not jumping off of here. This is fucking high.
Yeah, there's just a thing when the guy's jumping a skateboard on a gigantic half pipe, and you just see him fly into the air, and then you see his board just keep going.
Yeah.
And he's just 40 feet in the air over hardwood, and you're just like, oh, well, that's just.
No, it's so bad. Like
I don't care what kind of knee pads you have on. That's a shitty day. 10
that's
times
when
out
the whole
of 10.
crowd just goes, holds their breath. Okay, he's still alive. Woo!
It is at this point a bit of a badge of honor for some of the more known athletes that do the harder stuff to walk off on their own.
Yeah.
Where they take those falls and, the medics come in. They're like, no. I need to get out to the backstage first. There's children here. I want them to see me on my own power.
Yeah.
Let me get out of here first.
Not me. I want all the medics. I'm like,
Well, you have no choice sometimes. Let's be honest. There are some people where you're like, no, motherfucker. We're getting a stretcher. You're not moving.
yeah, I think some of those sports in the X Games should move into the Olympics because some of the shit that they got needs to go. Like curling, get the fuck out of here. How is that still a sport?
Yeah, there's very few that has managed to get into the Olympics.
That's old money. That's somebody that's like, no, curling stays.
Yeah, great pastime. Great pastime when you're drinking, though.
Yeah, it is. All right, moving right into our number 2 choices. Ian, take it away.
All right, I'm going to go with an Olympic athlete this time. With the upcoming Olympics in Tokyo, I think this is a good thing. She's been in the news lately. And yes, believe it or not, Ian has a female choice. Surprise, surprise.
Oh, shit.
Oh, the world's changing. I'm going to go with the greatest gymnast of all time, Simone Biles. Reason being, she's got over 30 Olympic /world championships in gymnastics.
Jesus.
I believe she's the only gymnast that has a 5-time all-around champ. That means every event classified together.
Dang.
She's been the best all around 5 different times. She's also been on our national team since 2012. I'm not sure how old she is, but I know it's a long-ass time. She's pushing it now.
That's a long time for a gymnast.
Yes, because especially what she puts her body through.
Sure.
Also, one of the reasons I threw her on this, she says her gymnastics speaks for herself. I think she's a great role model for young women. Also, there's a statistic about her, a certain clause that I think is one of the most impressive things in all of sports.
I gotta hear
this.
this. I gotta hear this.
Yeah, she's able to pull off moves that they literally call the Biles 1, the Biles 2. And in certain instances, she was restricted from pulling these moves off in international competition because of the unfair criteria in which they're judged. In other words, she can pull off a move at such a high level that the judges cannot fairly judge it compared to other competitors because she is the only one that can pull it off, and it's not safe for other gymnasts supposedly on the same level as her to pull off. I've never heard that. I've never heard anything like that.
If you do that in any other sport, no, you can't do that because you're too good. How dare you be above my level?
Exactly.
Come back down here.
Imagine like the Pacquiao rule, like you can't throw jabs in succession that fast. You know, like
I was hesitant at first. I wanted to put her on the list, but I was like, yeah, she's kind of newer and not a lot of people. But when the more you dig into it, what she's accomplished, I have no problem putting her up on my Mount Rushmore. I've never heard a statistic like that in my life.
And she plays for what team?
She plays for the United States of America.
America, bitches. Goddamn right.
So yeah, I'm actually. I mean,
Hold that down, Pakistan.
Yeah. I'm excited to see her in the next gymnastics team bring home some golds in the next coming Olympics.
I think she's gonna be a killer for a long time coming. She shows no signs of letting up. If I'm jumping into my number 2 choice, I would have to go with an MMA fighter. And I'm going to go with Khabib Nurmagomedov. Now, I had to practice that name
Nurmagomedov
in the mirror 6 times. I was waiting for the boogeyman to pop out.
We're going to be getting a lot of those names in the next coming years.
Yeah.
Now,
shout out to Dagestan.
I will say it was definitely a hard one for me to dive into. I was looking at other fighters like George St. Pierre, Kamaru Usman, some of these guys that are just right now or in the past have killed it in their divisions as well. But going into Khabib Nurmagomedov's record, he's 29 wins, 0 losses.
3 of those are against the bear.
And a Kodiak bear too. No little bitch ass American black bear. This is a Kodiak bear.
Yes, and also his girlfriend. So 8 KOs, 11 subs, 10 by decision, and 0 losses. I mean, so he's won both in striking and in submission. He's a black belt in Sambo, which is a fantastic and hard-fought sport in Russia. Yeah. You see some of the best Sambo fighters. I think they all come from Russia, to be honest.
The best ones do, yeah.
Yeah.
Or at least Russian satellite countries.
Yeah.
I mean, you see Putin doing it. It's got to do something.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But, see, watching Putin do it is like watching Steven Seagal do it, right? Because
don't you ever disrespect Vladimir Putin like that ever again.
Like with Steven Seagal, he's just so unenthusiastically throwing people around. He's like those McDojo videos where they grab the head and the guy's just like, ugh, and they go flying across the room.
I'm a white guy with a ponytail and fuck Steven Seagal. I'm sorry, we'll get back to the podcast. That's another podcast that we could do.
I mean, and he's fought some really great fighters, so it's not like he got 29 victories and 0 losses fighting chumps. He fought people like Rafael Dos Anjos, Dustin Poirier, Conor McGregor, Edson Barbosa. These are some...
Did the same thing to all of them, too.
Veterans.
Them.
He never looked like he was doing the boxing game of dodging the hardest fight. He just, who's next?
Yeah, and once he beat them, he wasn't looking back. He proved that he was a martial artist first, before he was all about the money, because he knew he was going to make the money. He was already, in his mind, the best fighter the UFC had to offer. And so, after beating somebody like Conor in such a fashion, the way that he did, he's like, I don't even want to fight him again. He's like, I want to fight better fighters.
Makes it such a sad thing with the passing of his father.
Yeah.
That he's stepping down because I think of what he could have been. I mean, he wasn't anywhere close to having anyone touch him.
But you also have to say, who else is there for him to fight?
Right. And
in that division, no one.
You go out on top.
You're going to go in. You're going to take the risk of getting some form of damage against people that, on most of the days of the week, you'd run over them.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I don't see Oliveira beating him. I think he smashes him. Michael Chandler, he can wrestle, but not on the level of Khabib.
I think he would have had to meet somebody at a catch weight to fight like somebody like an Usman or fight like a George St. Pierre.
Someone at welterweight gives him a struggle.
He's got the skills and the momentum behind him. It's like when Anderson Silva was at the top. Just his name alone, people would get in the ring and he'd win before the fight started.
The Mike Tyson aura. Yeah.
This is the guy. Oh my God, he's the person I have to beat to become something.
And not only was he beating people, but he was doing it in effect. He's dancing around the ring. He's making them look like chumps. I think Forrest Griffin walked out of a fight.
Yeah, Anderson Silva went up to 205 and just toyed with.
I think there was a little bit of crying as well.
Yeah. And Forrest Griffin was a G in the sport. Like, I mean, he was one of those guys who fought tooth and nail.
Former champion, beat Quentin Rampage Jackson.
Yeah, I think he just realized he was just outclassed. He's like, I'm done. I got to get the fuck out of this.
People
ring.
forget how good Anderson was back in the day. He was the Michael Jordan of MMA.
No, he definitely was. And then he did MMA a huge service by getting in the ring as a boxer and not looking like, what's that guy's name?
A complete piece of shit.
Knocked out by everybody.
Wait a minute. Oh, yeah. I know you're talking about.
Wrestler.
Yeah.
Talks a lot of shit.
Yeah. Ben Kraken.
Yes. Yeah, Ben Smackin.
Ben Smackin.
Ben Arskin.
I think he has a knee fetish.
Yeah. No, I like your choice there, Nelson. Khabib, he's you know what he's gonna do. He doesn't hide his plan. You just can't stop it.
Yeah, he goes in there, he grinds him out, and like Ed said before, he fought a fucking bear. I mean, like, you have that as a statistic. When you wiki him, it's like fought a bear.
Fought a bear. It's on there.
Conor McGregor, close second, bear first. You know, that's how it was for him. So
that's the hierarchy.
Yes. Oh man! All right, Ed, going into your second choice.
My
who
next
are we looking
pick
at?
is going to be another person that in sports that don't really get any recognition in terms of greatest of all time.
Soccer?
Sumo?
What? Hell no. There's a bad motherfucker in sumo that's like half the size of everybody else.
Enho?
Yes.
Oh shit.
Oh fuck yeah!
I thought you were gonna say Kobayashi.
Shout out to the July tournament going on right now. We're on day 8 in Japan. I follow sumo so close.
There's nothing like seeing him bait and then throw them out of the fucking ring like,
Yep.
oh,
220-pound professional sumo wrestler.
That's technique, man, all the way.
But I'm going with Travis Pastrana.
Okay.
Pastrana.
Now, this is someone who, in terms of the number of sports, it's ridiculous. So he started with Supercross and into motocross, freestyle motocross, rally car racing, NASCAR, and then also did some of the truck outdoor series.
Yeah, Travis Pastrana is a psychopath. The stuff he does.
He is a beast in terms of just about anything with an engine in racing.
He sounds like he's from Loxahatchee, Florida.
He might as well be. He lives in the middle of nowhere, and he has the baddest ass house ever if you want to do anything action sports.
Someone find out where he's from. I think he might be from up Pennsylvania way, where I'm from.
So he's got 17 X Games medals, 11 are gold. He does insane stunts. For instance, he went skydiving without a parachute. Caught up to the person that had his parachute and then went and put it on. He's recreated several iconic stunts from like Evel Knievel and things of that nature.
Didn't he jump the Grand Canyon?
Yes. I at least jumped into it. One of the ones that I seen. Jumped into it, flew off the bike, popped the chute. Fucking lunatic.
Update, he's from Maryland, USA.
Okay, just south of me in Pennsylvania, yeah.
And one of the greatest things that he's really done, especially for extreme sports, is had a very collaborative atmosphere. He's created an entire compound across multiple sports, regularly invites all of the different athletes to come down.
And beat them.
And he's revolutionized the way a lot of the sports is being approached in the circuits, where the ramps are engineered so it's not a different ramp across every different tournament, so you're getting more consistency with your jump. The landing ramps are built in a way to absorb impact, so people are getting less injured.
Nice.
Revolutionized with foam pits.
He travels around with the Nitro Circus
with
too,
the Nitro
right?
Circus.
And they
he
do
has
a lot of crazy
his
stuff.
own tour, and he has some beasts coming up behind him that are coming out of his compound. Ryan Williams being one of them, who's also a multi-sport athlete as well who does BMX, dominates in that, and as well dominates in, of all things, scooter.
Oh, wow.
Wait, the little push scooter with your foot?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
It is hilarious.
Oh, wow.
But those little folding scooters were so big with children, they became a very formal way of getting around, unlike bicycles used to be when we were younger.
You had me until you said scooter, bro.
Everybody had the scooters. Well, and it's very...
I challenge you to a foot race, sir.
Very popular.
Right now, you heard it here first. I challenge you to a foot race. I will wear sandals, you bring your scooter.
He like Shaun White, is another athlete as well as Travis Pastrana that has tricks in their bag that other people just can't even do.
I think that's dope.
Unlike the Olympics and things like the X Games, that's what they want to see. They're not going to nerf you and say, you can't do that trick other people can't do. They deliberately go out to find people that can do shit no one else can do.
I think you stunt progress when you create rules like the Simone Biles rule.
Yeah.
Because if she's the one that's pioneering those kinds of things because of her body, her physique, her training, her technique, other people should aspire to be able to do those things. That's how you push the limits.
I'm for no drug testing in sports. I want to see how good we can go. You know, I want to see a genetic freak go up against a genetic. I want to see a mutant. I want to see
Uberine.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to see what the Soviet wrestling team looks like with no drug testing.
Well, sir,
Well, you won't see a
powerlifting.
Soviet wrestling team without drugs.
Powerlifting is for you. There's two leagues, one that's tested and one that's untested.
Yeah.
You figure it out.
You
Which
figure
one
it
is
out.
The Rock a part of?
The Samoan golfing team.
Yes. Okay. Perfect. Perfect.
That's a crazy pick though, Ed. That's a name I did not expect to hear on this list, but Travis Pastrana is by far the craziest name.
And
we've heard
sounds
so far.
delicious in a sandwich.
The number of sports that he's accomplished in is pretty ridiculous.
Yeah,
Oh, that's pretty amazing.
that's a out there choice, but hell, I'm fine with that one. I'm fine with that.
All right, so let's move into our third round draft pick.
All right.
Starting with Ian.
Speaking of the steroid-fueled Soviet wrestling team, that's very appropriate. I'm going to go with the guy who was voted by the International Greco-Roman Federation as the greatest Greco-Roman wrestler of the 20th century, Alexander Karelin, also known as Alexander the Great,
Nice.
Alexander the Experiment, the Soviet King Kong.
Alexander the Experiment. That's fantastic.
This man's absolutely terrifying. I remember watching him wrestle back in the 90s, and I remember watching him eventually lose that match to Rulon Gardner. I'll touch on that too in the 2000 Olympic Games. 6'3", 287, moves like a freaking panther. Definitely fueled with all the drugs in Eastern Europe. His international wrestling record when he retired was 887 wins and 2 losses. Both of those losses came by only 1 point. It's never been seen. It will never be seen again. He won gold medals in the 88 Olympics, the 92 Olympics, the 96 Olympics, and finally finished with a silver in the 2000 Olympics against Rulon Gardner, which is Rulon Gardner's claim to fame. He was the guy that was on the weight loss show.
Right.
No disrespect to him, but in the Olympics that he beat Alexander Karelin in, there was a change of rules. When you had your hands locked behind your opponent, you could not unlock them at all once you had locked them. If you broke the lock, it was a point deduction. Rulon Gardner, Rulon Gardner had some 52-inch chest, big farm boy from the center of the United States. Nothing against Rulon Gardner. He's an Olympic gold medalist, blah, blah, but he's not the greatest wrestler of all time. He's not even going to get named with U.S. wrestlers like Dan Gable, Cale Sanderson, people like that. So he goes against...
Sting.
Well, Sting is another fantastic wrestler. So he goes against Alexander Karelin. Alexander locks his hands behind him, and for a brief moment, in the midst of the struggle, they saw Alexander change his grip. And for that brief moment, in the previous Olympics, it would have been fine, but the refs didn't even know what to do. It even took a while to deduct the point because they were like, did we just see what we see? Are we about to do what we're about to do?
So it's not like he was forced to release it. He was making a change of
He wasn't
grip.
taken down. He was never threatened once. They deducted the point for the hand change. Rulon goes on the win. Now, that once again, not trying to be a Soviet supporter here. I'm just saying, if you compare you compare the accolades of Alexander Karelin to any other wrestler in Olympic history, he stands alone. I mean, he went on to, he's now in politics. he's a member of the Vladimir Putin party.
Oh,
in the
well, if you're
Russian
from
parliament.
Russia and you have any notoriety,
Damn.
that's where you're going.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's actually, ironically, he holds a PhD, and the name of the PhD, I'm not exaggerating this, is Method of Execution of the Suplex and the Counters and Integral Training Systems for Top-Level Olympic Wrestlers. That is the name of his PhD.
And he has a book for dummies as well, right?
That has to be the most Russian PhD I have ever heard.
Absolutely.
I think the man is amazing. I'm all for it, man.
Yeah, if you haven't Googled this guy or looked at YouTube videos on this guy, Alexander Karelin, he's in my opinion the greatest Olympic wrestler of all time, and he terrifies me. He's a horrifying looking human. He's a horrifying looking human being.
That sounds fucking amazing.
So his head is going right up there on Mount Rushmore, and I don't think anyone could stop him.
They don't want to try. All right, it seems like we do have a lot of fighters, a lot of extreme sports. You know, we're thinking outside of the box. I think fighting is one of those athletic endeavors that, unless you've personally undertaken it, you don't understand just how difficult a process it is. The training, the vigorous skills and things that you have to bring to the table, like endurance and eating right and the mental breakdown, like good days, bad days. So I think that brings a lot of top athletes into the fold.
Into the fray, yeah.
Yeah. I think as far as more traditional sports, with my next pick, he's a very untraditional guy, household name. He's one of the best hockey players, if not the greatest hockey player of all times. He played 200 points in one season 4 times. He's also he holds 61 NHL records, 40 during a regular season, 15 during the playoff season, and 6 during All-Star season. All records and all accomplishments this man has brought to the table. The great one, Wayne Gretzky. I think even as a kid, after the Mighty Ducks, I think everybody kind of got into hockey. Yes. We were all triple deacon in our backyards with our rollerblades. And when I started deep diving into hockey and what a fantastic sport it was, and I played a lot of roller hockey as a kid, you know, Wayne Gretzky was just undeniable. Everybody wanted to be like Wayne Gretzky, just a fantastic scorer, unless you were a barbarian and you just wanted to beat people up, which the enforcers do very well. They have a purpose. Never. Yes, yeah. I was all about speed and moving in and out and shooting goals. So to me, Wayne Gretzky was like the epitome of hockey. Now, and that's sad to say because I was a diehard New York fan. Like growing up in New York, you had to like the Rangers, the Yankees, the Knicks, or they would fuck you up, right? Like you had to have something so special in New York to be even acknowledged. And like Wayne Gretzky was
What's
one of those
interesting
guys.
about Wayne Gretzky is he is known and acknowledged by anyone who regularly watches hockey, anyone who plays hockey, the players, the writers, the commission, as the greatest hockey player. It's not like basketball where some people will say one person, some people will say another. In hockey, it's Wayne Gretzky. There is no argument. How dare you even attempt to bring up another fucking... Not unless you're trying to say the best goalie.
Yeah.
Fuck you. It's Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah.
And I believe, was it Patrick Waugh? The best.
He was one of the baddest motherfuckers when we used to play.
Well, even me, I know shit about hockey, and the name Wayne Gretzky is like synonymous with Canada.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I think syrup. I think and Wayne Gretzky.
Rocky and Bullwinkle, Wayne Gretzky.
That's right. That's Canada to me.
And in proper Canadian fashion, a great role model. Never an issue ever came out of or was ever heard of with Wayne Gretzky's name.
No driving drunk, no beating his wife, nothing.
No. He was a family man. He was an icon, still is an icon. They have awards named after him that are given to other hockey players. So it's like... Like, oh, you can be like Wayne Gretzky on some small level. Here's an award.
Yeah, Wayne Gretzky, George St. Pierre, 2 of the greatest Canadians of all time.
Oh, yeah. Are they the only great Canadians?
Alanis Morissette.
Ooh. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they are the only great Canadians. Isn't it ironic?
Yeah. Don't you think?
Oh man.
All right, Ed. Who's going on your third
For
spot?
my next pick, this is going to be out of a competition that is a day-long, grueling competition that demands stamina, physical strength, athleticism. It is Sasuke, Ninja Warrior.
What? I'm loving
Wait a second.
Ed's picks today.
Ninja Warrior?
Not the American version where there's always some kind of a winner.
You're talking about
I'm talking
the
proper
original
Sasuke, the Japanese version.
Mount Midoriyama.
Exactly. 38 seasons, only 4 people have ever actually completed. There's one person that the most recent, Morimoto Yusuki.
Gesundheit.
Yeah, well, Japanese is a little complicated.
Yeah.
So he's the most recent winner. He's won twice, a feat that's only been accomplished 2 times with him and one other person. So every year, this competition gets more grueling, much harder. And he is under a very small elite people that they call Kenzen Shiha, or complete domination of the course.
Damn.
So not the bastardized, like, easy pop culture one that, like,
no,
you know.
not the American version where they take the people who did the best. In the Japanese version, you fail. Get the fuck out. You don't go to the next course. There isn't you had the best time. No.
Right.
You couldn't hold on to that wall. Goodbye.
You also might die.
Goodbye.
You might die. Like, you know, you fall. Like, that's you know.
It's and most people don't realize that is actually filmed all in one day. So they do all of those courses all in the one day, and then it's just parsed out a little at a time.
Damn.
So who's this guy's name? The guy that got the total domination?
So Morimoto Yusuki.
How many times has he won?
Twice. So
Wow.
he's the most recent winner. There's only been 4 winners ever. Him and one other had won twice, but the 2 most recent have been him, I believe. So on the most difficult versions of the course, he has been the winner.
So the only thing left for them to do is a fight to the death between the two. I think we should set this up.
Yep.
Damn.
Wow.
All right. Okay. All right. So I've actually seen some videos recently of American Ninja Warrior for like kids under the age of like 16 and 15, and like, yo, it's pretty wild actually how fast, how agile these kids are. Like, they destroy the courses. Like, they're made for their tiny bodies, but the athleticism that's shown, it's fucking wild.
I was like, what a great idea for developing joints.
It has spurred a renaissance in the parkour movement that was coming out of France.
Parkour.
Yes, because some of the best ones from America that had started going to the competition and actually getting properly invited to the Japanese version were American stuntmen and people that did parkour, because it was the thing that translated the most over, as well as a handful of rock climbers because of the amount of upper body endurance that you needed for some of the areas of the course.
So
I have a whole shit ton of tape to watch now on Yusuke Morimoto.
So it wasn't that one Office episode where they were doing parkour all over the office that sparked this great interest in
I just
parkour?
remember the crab fisherman from the original, like, Ninja
yeah.
Warrior. He would stand there with, like,
Yeah.
the necklace of crabs, and he would
Yes.
climb masts and shit. I was like, this guy looks horrifying.
His training was a rope climb that was in a 45-degree angle on his boat that he would just use his hands to climb up.
Well, they don't make them like they used to. That's like the Sugar Ray Robinson of of
American
Ninja Warrior. You know?
Yeah. I remember when they were trying to bring like UFC fighters as well to do American Ninja Warrior. I think it was like Felice Herring. What's her
Felice
name?
Herring, yeah.
Yes, she failed so bad. They were like, let's just give her a second try just for this. And she failed again, and it was like, oh man, please stop.
Yeah, the Japanese version.
Make sure to check out Felice Herring's OnlyFans account. You know? Because they pay them UFC fighters enough, you know.
Japan doesn't fuck around. There's no second try. As soon as you kind of fail, you failed.
Yeah.
I got a whole new respect for the Ninja Warrior thing, at least the original version that you're talking about, when they invited Paul Hamm. He was an Olympic gold medalist from 2008.
Yeah. I don't think he made it past the first course.
No, it was 2008 or 2012, and they invited him. And theoretically, like, you know, Simone Biles won 5 of those. He was theoretically the best overall gymnast on the planet at the time. Didn't make it through the first obstacle.
God damn.
So there you go.
The original Sasuke, it is a motherfucker of a course.
Now, does he wear a costume?
There are some people that show up for comic
Like in
relief,
full costumes.
and they do wear full costumes.
Full G-string.
Oh yeah, no, that nobody needs to see.
I need to see it.
Japan gets very weird.
Yes. But some of their shows are fantastic.
Most extreme elimination challenge.
Yes. But when they bring them over to America, they water them down. They don't do them the same way, and then it just destroys the show. Like, you got to leave it into the original format. People are getting hurt. They're getting thrown into walls.
That's what makes it funny.
Yeah, like 1 inch of water. They're like, no, it's just mud. Smack.
Yeah, with a rock in it.
And they're not even playing for anything other than beating the course. There isn't a giant prize at the end or anything.
Honor.
It is purely that somebody won. And unlike what you see with some of the Americans, when it first came to America, you did see some of it. They would actually help each other out, give each other tips, pointers where people failed and things like that. You don't see that in the American version anymore. When it first came over and it was on G4, you did see that because some of the Japanese players would be dealing with the Americans here.
Right.
And there was that collaboration that was going on in Japan where it was more about a human being able to beat this ridiculously difficult course instead of being one human versus another group of humans and somebody being better than everybody else.
I set up a similar competition when dating. I was like, they have to be superhuman.
Yeah.
They have to get through all of these things.
If they want to climb Mount Midoriyama, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's right. You better have those fisherman
Well,
hands.
the last piece of Mount Midoriyama is only a 30-second challenge, so that's not all that much.
Oh, shit.
Hey, that's what they get. That's that prize, baby. If you ain't first, you last, Ricky Bobby.
Oh, man. Oh, God. I've been liking Ed's picks, man. He's making us go on some weird roads here. This is what I like.
Well, that's what Eddie's specialty is.
Weird roads.
All right, so we're moving on into our 4th and final pick.
All right. I'm going to finish off my mountain with what could possibly be the most important, in my mind, could be the most important athlete of all time. I know a lot of people from the Vietnam era and the 60s are going to get angry at me right now, and that's fine. Turn your hearing aids down, prop your feet up, relax for a little bit.
Sylvester Stallone in Rambo.
This is an opinionated show. Let me pick my guy.
That's right.
So anyway, I'm going to go with Muhammad Ali, the late, the great Muhammad Ali.
Yep.
Reason I'm going with him, 61 fights, 56 wins, 5 losses. And all this being said, 5 years of his career were actually taken from him in his prime due to his stance on Vietnam.
A political activist.
There you go. Yeah, and as a result, we got to factor in that all his accomplishments, everything he's done, 5 years of it could have been added on. Right. So he won the title, beating Sonny Liston, who's arguably, especially if you talk to Mike Tyson, who's arguably one of the scariest fighters in heavyweight boxing history.
Mike Tyson is calling somebody scary.
They're fucking scary.
Yeah.
I think he was like a money collector for the mob. Sonny Liston was a bad dude. Out of prison, he was a monster.
That's not a man you want to see saying, you owe me money.
No.
Take my children.
Sonny Liston used to punch the souls out of people.
Oh, yeah.
But Muhammad Ali beat him in a huge upset, 1964. Muhammad Ali was a gold medal winner at this time in the Olympics. Won the title in 64, and I think his last defense of it, or the last time he claimed the belt, was in 1978, and you're never going to see that again. It's a 14-year span. First person ever to capture the heavyweight title 3 times. I think there's a CompuBox number. This is before CompuBox, but statistically, he was hit over 200,000 times in his career. Which
is that just in ring?
That's in ring.
So that's not even counting.
That's not counting sparring.
That's
not
like
even counting sparring.
Half the amount of hits that Floyd Mayweather's wife took.
That's right. And that was in one evening.
Yeah, there was no Computron
there. Yeah, there was no one throwing the towel in that living room.
Goddamn.
Floyd, if you're listening, fuck you. But,
yeah.
So anyway, Yeah, Muhammad Ali, I think he transcended the sport. I mean, there's a lot of people. There's a reason they call him the greatest. People throw out names. They'll say, well, what about, the Evander Holyfields? What about the Mike Tysons? What about other people that you could throw in the ring?
Right.
This is what I will say. Muhammad Ali, especially if you compare him to the other name they throw out there, Mike Tyson, when he competed against the greats of his generation, and I'll happily argue if people can name the greats of Tyson's generation. I mean, who did he beat that was anyone of substance? I mean, other than Spinks towards the end of his career. I can't really think of any great names that Tyson...
His name itself is what dominates that whole era. That's
Right.
the only person that seemed to matter.
And
Didn't he fight Ivan Drago?
Ivan Drago?
Yeah, Drago.
I don't know. Ivan Jackoff? No, I don't think they made that fight.
Okay.
But Mike, I think, was a victim of his own. It's not his fault that he competed in a time where the water wasn't very deep in the heavyweight division. I think you're right. He just stood so high out of the water that's the only one person
and he
cared
brought
about.
a fierceness to boxing that nobody has seen. So like in Anderson Silva, he had this aura, like you had mentioned before, around him that people were just like, I'm gonna get in the ring and I'm gonna get my block knocked off.
Right. So they're beaten before they even step in there.
Yeah.
And Tyson, the reason I don't qualify him, and this isn't the Buster Douglas thing, this is the great names that he fought of his time. The Evander Holyfields, the Lennox Lewises, they beat Tyson. They beat him. Now, you could chalk that up to discipline. You could chalk that up to Gus D'Amato not sticking around long enough to coach him.
Yep.
You chalk that up to Don King being a shitbag.
Even mental instability, which
it
has
does play a
proven-
factor. It does play a factor. Teddy Atlas talks a whole thing on how he thinks Tyson, mentally wasn't a fighter. Athletically and ability-wise, he thinks Tyson had it. He said, but mentally, it wasn't the fire that he needed.
Yeah, once he lost his coach, that went out the window. All his confidence left with him.
That was it. Muhammad Ali fought in a time where the heavyweight division was as deep as it's ever been.
Right.
You had Floyd Patterson. You had Sonny Liston. You had Joe Frazier. You had Ken Norton. You had George Foreman. And then he fought past that. He fought the Holmes, the Spinks. I mean, he fought over 3 decades of great fighters, and he beat most of the people, almost all of them, that they put in with him, including he fought Joe Frazier 3 times, 15 rounds. They don't even do that anymore. I mean,
I think that's barbaric. Right?
Exactly. And it's not that the way Tyson says, it's not that he was outstanding in any certain area. He just, in all aspects of boxing, he superseded everybody. He would drag you into the deep water past the 12th round, the 13th, the 14th round, and he would drown you.
Yeah.
And I think if you look at any athlete today, especially black African-American athletes, they see the importance of Muhammad Ali. In a time where you did not stand up to the U.S. government. When they said you're going to war, you went to war. You shut your mouth, you stood in line, and you went to war. He's the first person to say, why?
Right.
Why am I doing this? Look at what they did to Joe Louis. Joe Louis, another name I wanted to put on this list, fought for the government. Died broke and destitute. IRS took everything from him. So I have a tremendous amount of respect to Ali. I think his death a few years ago hit me really hard just being a combat athlete.
Sure.
And I would be happily say I'm putting him on my Mount Rushmore, and his head would probably be a little bigger than the rest of the people's. So.
Nice. Okay. So it's like mine.
Right, exactly.
That's a solid pick. All right, going into my 4th and final pick. This one was definitely my favorite pick of all, being from Brooklyn, New York, being a Puerto Rican. This is like one of the sports that comes out of our country. A lot of great baseball players. I'm going to go with Derek Jeter. Okay. He's a shortstop for the New York Yankees. His accolades are amazing. He's a 14-time All-Star champion, 5-time World Series champion, 5-time Golden Glove Award, 5-time Silver Slugger Award, 2-time All-Hank Aaron World Series MVP. He's Mr. Steal Your Girl, along with stealing 358 bases. And probably the best thing to come out of Derek Jeter's achievements, dating Jennifer Lopez.
That's up there.
It's right up there. I mean, he's no Ben Affleck. I mean, Ben is the king of the Jennifers, but...
Yeah, he gets around there.
Yeah.
Shout out to Ben. How's rehab going?
He was the captain of the Yankees. He led his team the way that you should. He was one of those guys who definitely surpassed his role as just being a great athlete, He was one of the greatest baseball players of all time, if you ask me, especially in the modern age of baseball.
Oh, you mean the age when actually black and Hispanic people could play?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
All right. What do you mean? Well, Babe Ruth. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, come on, man.
He represented our people well, and if you dated him, you got a gift basket on the way home. He would have the women pick up at his house with a limousine to take him home after he was done, and a gift basket for the ladies.
There you go. There you go.
To go home with as a great thank you for sleeping with me.
Everyone with that Tiffany's bracelet, congratulations, you're in the club.
Well done. Well done.
You are an MVP all your own.
We'll make a Mount Rushmore for you guys later. Don't worry. You'll get your shout-outs. No, yeah, Jeter's definitely, I mean, like baseball, just like NHL, is something I don't know a lot about, but the name Derek Jeter is just synonymous. Yeah. When you think of the modern baseball, I mean, his name pops into my head with like a Ken Griffey, with a Cal Ripken. I mean, just one of the great baseball players in modern times. And his name, Derek Jeter, is synonymous with New York.
And like a Michael Jordan, he was a leader amongst men in his teams. Like these were guys that, like, when Jordan hit the basketball court, everybody was going to follow his lead, and he was going to take you to victory. Derek Jeter was one of those guys who delivered for his team time and time again as a Yankees baseball player.
Take fucking notes, LeBron.
Your Space Jam looks like trash, by the way. I seen the preview, LeBron.
Not going to see it, LeBron. Not going to see it.
It looks so bad.
Oh, God.
So bad.
Yeah. All right, moving on from LeBron James' lackluster movie preview.
All right. And for my last pick, I'm going with someone from the cycling world, but not Lance Armstrong. No.
What?
The number 13th guy who didn't test positive.
This person wiped the floor with everyone around the 30th mile of the first leg of the Tour de France with a piece of cardboard.
I've never heard of this.
If you haven't seen, there was a spectator who was so far out on the road, she knocked down what had to have been 100 of the cyclists.
I did see this.
With a piece of cardboard.
This just happened, right? This just happened.
She has done more for the cycling world
than anyone since Lance.
Since Lance Armstrong in years. Oh my God. That shit was so good.
Is she going on your Mount Rushmore? Is that woman going on your Mount Rushmore?
No, but I just wanted to mention it because that shit was hilarious. The whole race was stopped by a piece of cardboard from a spectator.
How in the hell? Never mind.
There was literally people with concussions, broken bikes. She's looking at 2 years in prison.
Oh my God!
For an accident, or was it done deliberately?
And a $3,300 fine. No, it was an accident. She was looking at the camera instead of the race, so she didn't see they were coming up behind her. She was trying to show her "Yay, Grandma, Grandpa" sign to the camera, and she just
now
was
she's
right
doing
in
2
the
years
fucking
in a
way.
Paris
She's doing
prison.
a hard time. They found her fucking quick. That woman didn't even really get out of the area. They found her before she got in.
Grandma and Grandpa gonna go visit her in jail?
Hell no. They don't allow visitors in the gulag.
No, but for my actual pick, I'm going to pick someone who's probably going to piss people off more than her.
Oh, this is good.
This is a 5-year champion in a sport that is essentially athletics. CrossFit.
Okay.
It is the sport of who is more athletic than everyone else. And is the winner, Matthew Fraser, for 5 years in a row in a sport where every single thing that you could think of is in it, between trail running, regular running, swimming, deadlift ladders, throwing heavy balls, everything that you could think of, from powerlifting type movements to bodybuilding type movements to getting on a bike to jumping over the barbell, because fuck it, it's there. Use that as well.
Yeah, guys like Matt Fraser, Rich Froning, they're beasts.
It is the sport of athletics. And when you say the greatest athlete, the sport that is athletics, the winner 5 years in a row is arguably the greatest athlete.
Yeah, you could say that, yeah.
I'd definitely say arguably, because I mean, CrossFit is dope, but is it a sport? I mean, that's like gaming online. Like, it's on ESPN now. Get the fuck out of here.
You're the best at working out. You're the best at working out.
Best at working out. Yeah, get the fuck out of here.
I don't know. Matt Fraser's pretty good shape, man. I don't know. He's,
you know what? I'm with you guys. Hard pass.
You could throw Iron Man in there then. You could,
Oh, man, listen, I was not going to argue with any of your outside of the box picks until you brought in Rich Franklin.
Rich Franklin. Shout out to former UFC champion Rich Franklin.
I can't even remember this guy's name.
Rich Bronin.
Rich Bronin. All right.
No. It's Matt Fraser. His pick was Matt Fraser.
Oh, man, Parcheesi champion. All right, cool. All right, well, I guess we're just throwing this shit out the window.
No,
I'm picking The Rock. No, The Rock is my next pick. The Rock is my next pick. Intercontinental champion, WWE champion.
Couldn't make it in the NFL.
Yeah, but he's a superhero.
You're right. That's fair. That's fair.
That's right.
Is Black Adam really a superhero?
He's a villain. But
He's supposed to be a villain, but since it's The Rock, he's now a hero.
yes.
Okay, they're going to spin
Or
it.
an anti-hero.
Future president of the United States.
Oh, man. All right, so who's your lacrosse guy again?
Matthew Fraser. CrossFit champion, 5 years running.
And because of this podcast, he's going to be a household name. To the trash.
That's a lot of hate on CrossFit. Jesus God.
Oh, yeah. It's an easy target.
No, but CrossFit is dope. I like it when they come into the jiu-jitsu gym and then they get their asses kicked and then they go back to CrossFit a week later. No, it's cool, though. It's cool.
It's a really smooth transition.
It lasts about 2 hours.
That's right. About 2 hours. Followed by some soul searching.
Yeah, that's right. It's a protein shakes.
Yes, and then an immediate cancellation of their free week trial.
Also a loss of your man card.
Yeah. I found that powerlifters do a lot better in jiu-jitsu than CrossFitters. They stick around longer.
Yeah.
They do.
They do.
They're
2 weeks.
They're a lot more used to grinding it out.
Yeah.
No, I think honestly, it's a legit sport, and it's a solid pick for a guy who I've never heard of.
Yeah. I mean, it's. I will say this: it's hard. It's very hard. I do Murph once or twice a year for Memorial Day, Veterans Day.
Is he nice to you?
He is nice. Yeah, Murph is very sweet to me.
He's got tough hands.
He does. He does. He lotions them. He gets in there. But no, it's difficult. It's difficult. It's just it's hard to do a workout with a high pace, and then like you're moving from one athletic motion to another, trying to get your heart to pump blood to different muscle groups at the same time. It is difficult. It's just not my thing.
It looks like a bad day to me.
Yeah.
I enjoy my powerlifting, but that just the pace that you have to keep up with the CrossFit games and all that, it does not look like fun.
It's also just very unforgiving to people that are new to like even fitness. I mean, it's not a good idea to tell someone who's new to fitness to deadlift with shitty form 15 times as fast as possible.
Right, that's how you get hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The majority of the exercising injuries that I know is from people trying CrossFit and having a bad coach who wasn't teaching the form properly before telling them to do it as many times as they could for 2 minutes.
Yeah. If you work in orthopedics, just go to a CrossFit gym and hand out cards. You're set. I mean, you got your first couple months full of clinics. Like,
that's
good.
just like the massage parlor right next to the jiu-jitsu academy. It's just like, come on in.
I mean, if you could,
happy ending.
If you could find somebody to teach you it properly and you're in the class, that's fantastic to keep you motivated.
Like Matt Fraser.
But it's so easy to find someone who's shitty, got certified, doesn't teach you things properly, and you blow out your back or your shoulder doing clean and presses with shit form because you're trying to get as many as you can for 2 minutes.
Yeah. But I thought they were weightlifting. Why are they cleaning the presses?
Because Twitter ate their lunch,
That's right.
so they're all going out of business.
Damn it. Yeah, that's an issue I have with chiropractors in general, is depending on how they were trained, not having a knowledge of what they're treating.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have some guy come in with a disc herniation in his lumbar spine. Hey, let me adjust you real quick.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, I can't feel my feet. Ah, you're fine. Go home, soak in the bathtub. Epsom salts.
That's just not having the ability to say, hey, you need somebody that's a little more of a specialist than somebody who just cracks your joints.
Yeah.
You need to go see an actual doctor
Yeah.
Not a flim flam.
who
man.
took medical training.
Yeah. Not a guy in a Sub-Zero outfit. Come here.
Get over here.
Get over here.
That's Scorpion, by the way.
It's okay. It's all right. It's okay. We ran with it. We
did.
Close enough. They both were
all
masks.
the way to the wall.
I mean, I'm personally proud of our Mount Rushmores today. They had I think one woman on one of the Mount Rushmores.
Yes.
We did. We had a woman
that
on there.
Matt Fraser guy.
Yeah, they were multi ethnic backgrounds. I think we did very well today.
I think so. I like
Yeah.
it. We represented USA, Mother Russia,
Yeah. It
Puerto
was-
Rico,
Yeah, Puerto Rico.
I think let me see,
The
that
Soviet
was
Union was on.
USA.
Japan.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the cyclist I was talking about, she's from France, I believe.
Oh yeah, that poor woman from the village in France.
Yeah.
She's being beaten in the gulag right now. as we speak.
They haven't
with
even
French toast.
released her name.
Man.
They won't even release her name
When they release
the
her name, we'll
shit
send her
that's coming
we'll send
from
her a SofaKingdom shirt.
Yes, that's right.
She gets a free shirt. Thanks for being a good sport.
Shit, I don't even get a free shirt. What do I got to do? Knock over some fucking cyclists?
You got to knock over the Tour de France and do 2 years in a European prison.
I'm on my way. Not to prison, though. I'm too pretty for prison.
Especially a European prison. Yeah, a European prison. There's different standards.
Would you like us to butter your roll?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they in the United States, it's just roll. There's no butter.
It is pronounced croissant.
Croissant.
And on that note, thank you for listening to the Sofa Kingdom podcast. Catch you next time.
Woo!